I'm certain most Ukrainians want to maintain long-term friendly relations with Russia. Ukraine must be denazified and the enemy must not remain.
Yes, he is insane. That is an evil dictator who thinks that Ukrainians want to be long-term friends with Russians after he has leveled their nation to the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today I have some video that I think very few have seen. Putin on Sky Arabia. Also another video from Kobyakov. I'm going to introduce you to him. We have Zelensky's fire response. It's basically not possible. Everything that you're seeing and continued deterioration of the relationships between the United States and Ukraine, basically because there is no focus there. Donald Trump playing golf 2 weeks on everything. I deserve a Nobel Peace Prize, and maybe I should bomb Iran or not. So all of this leads us to a place. Oh, by the way, telling some of the most staunch advocates for Ukraine, although they're flip-flopping like crazy, that they are talking too much. So here we go. Thank you for being here. Putin basically doubled down. It's over. It's over. Ukraine has to be neutral. They have to give up everything. And you know what? We'll just be friends going ahead. And Trump running for Nobel Peace Prize. Zelensky firing. None of this is possible. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing, liking, subscribing, and we appreciate each and every one of you. I want to start first with Putin's special advisor, Anton Kobyakov. You may not know who Anton Kobyakov is, but he is one of Putin's right-hand men. Yesterday, you can see behind him where it says SPIEF 25, standing for St. Petersburg International Economic Forum 2025. This was yesterday. I just saw this video, just found it. And this is what Kobyakov was telling that international delegation with basically most nations of the world represented, including European nations, including the United States of America and others. This is the narrative that he was sharing. The Ukrainian conflict is a conflict inside the Russian world. And in the minds of many, the West's participation is a pure intervention. So you see how that works? You start pumping it into the economic forum. You pump it into those international representatives. You pump it into the media. Now, hey, it's just internal squabbling. Ukraine is Russia's. And that's the narrative that's starting to ramp up even more and more and more. Yesterday, after 55 minutes of Putin, and we covered all of that in his key statements, everywhere that a Russian soldier's foot goes, that is Russia. You realize that's the same statement that Adolf Hitler made in his writings, just letting you know, by the way. But Putin then, when he left there, he went out to an interview, and I saw an outside picture of that, but there was no audio, just a picture. He was being interviewed by Sky News Arabia, giving his understanding of Iran and all of that, but he spoke about Ukraine, and you need to hear this.
Ukraine must return to neutrality, independence, and non-nuclear status outside any alliance. We then proceed based on the will of the people living in these territories, recognizing them as this is what we call democracy. Ukraine should acknowledge the referendum results in the four known regions. This must be accepted as reality, as not doing so could lead to renewed armed conflict. I'm certain most Ukrainians want to maintain long-term friendly relations with Russia. Ukraine must be denazified and the enemy must not remain.
So now that narrative going to the entire Arab world. You see how this works? Not only do they have to be neutral, give up everything, be denazified, and I'm sure when all that's over, go to the will of the people in the four regions, and after that, yeah, we'll be friends. It's our people. That's the message going out. Today, Zelensky firing back extremely early for his evening address. Here it goes. You can hear Zelensky. Ladies and gentlemen, it's getting tough. But I can tell you one thing. The Putin show, he says, was for the United States. Iran is a tool in the hand of Russia to wage war. We will not quit and will meet every invader with a drone. A lot of people have been putting the rhetoric out there that Ukraine doesn't have enough soldiers, doesn't have enough soldiers, doesn't have enough soldiers. And could they use more? Absolutely. But technology is changing. You don't count 1-to-1 now, and all the math, even in the early phases of the war between Russia and Ukraine, the technology, drone warfare, you name it, it has changed the battlefields. And Zelenskyy declared today, you're going to hear it, peace initiatives have 100% failed. Here you go. Just a little while ago, President Zelenskyy. I wish you good health, fellow Ukrainians. Yesterday, everyone heard the signals from Russia's leader, whether it was bravado or madness on his part. It can be interpreted in any way. But when a murderer says he wants to kill, we take that accordingly and we will respond together with our partners. I hope with all of our partners. Yesterday, Putin put on a performance particularly for the United States as well, and he spoke completely openly. Yes, he wants all of Ukraine, and he had wanted it not just for 4 years, not just since 2014, but long before that, because he himself was shaped by Russian imperialism. And when he speaks about Ukraine and something else about Russia's soldiers' boots on the ground, he is also speaking about Belarus, the Baltic states, Moldova, the Caucasus, and countries like Kazakhstan, and every place on earth that Russian killers can reach. So you can see him there, and there's more to come, talking about it, what we've been sharing, Zelenskyy confirming, you can't deal with Vladimir Putin the way you deal with another world leader. He is a Russian trained from the days of the Soviet Union with the KGB, coming up in East Germany, working through that entire narrative of brainwashing. And his goal is to reestablish the Soviet Union and to go as far as possible. Because I remind you, once again, as we talk about regularly, he's all in. He's not like a Trump who has 3+ years left in office. He's all in. Kim Jong-un, all in. Ayatollah Khamenei, all in. Xi Jinping, all in. And the world, it's a different world we're living in, guys. Zelenskyy gets it. He's trying to share it. Let's continue. Putin's power ends where the capabilities of Russian killers end. Of course, we will find Ukrainian drones for every boot of a Russian occupier. There you go. Isn't that a beautiful statement? Because that's what Putin was saying yesterday. Wherever our boots go, Zelenskyy goes, okay, well, we'll just have a drone for every boot. And you realize soldiers have 2 boots. 2. Ukraine will defend itself. We all clearly understand that the issue of Ukraine's independence is a matter of survival for Ukrainians. Over these years under Putin, the Russians have gone further, much further than even the Gulag and many other things of the past. They burned cities. They burned villages to the ground, leaving only ruins and no human life. Anyone in the world can see what Putin has absolutely deliberately done to Donbass. And there you have it. He talks about Donbass and others being completely destroyed, and now he's trying to bring it. You're going to hear in just a moment. But I remind you, see, the world, Donald Trump, and others are looking at Putin as a sane person. He's insane. He is a terrorist, a lunatic. It's like you can give video documentation, take people to where it happened, and they'll look at you and they'll go, well, I don't believe that. That didn't happen. And it's happening right in front of our faces. He continues describing it. Has been essentially destroyed. And it was them in Moscow who once claimed they would bring protection to Donbass. What they actually brought was death. And this is the only thing they know how to deliver. Our communities in the Kharkiv region, in the border areas of the Sumy region, and in the Kherson region, the Russians are doing the same thing everywhere. Ukraine is grateful to everyone around the world who helps strengthen our defense, who supports our warriors, and all of our people. There, I want you to hear that. If you're watching this video and you've made it this far, thank you. Please share it. You're getting the absolute truth here. We're seeing what Putin says. We're seeing what Kobyakov says. We're hearing Zelenskyy. You're going to hear one more video clip in a second. But listen to what he said. Thank you to everyone that supports Ukraine. And I want to push his message. He tells anybody in media that is helping Ukraine, tell the people of the world, thank you. And from President Zelenskyy today, I say thank you. Thank you for helping. Let's continue. To everyone who enforces truly strong sanctions against Russia and blocks schemes that enable trade with Russia. We are grateful to everyone advancing diplomacy, but it is Russia that rejects peace proposals. And not just some, all of them, all of the world proposals, American, and by the way, the Chinese, the European, Brazilian, African, Indian, regardless of who says the war must be stopped, Putin does not listen. It is Putin who speaks openly to the world about which cities he threatens and which nations he claims do not exist. So there you have it. You know, he's so spot on, because even yesterday it was Putin sitting back on the stage going, yeah, we're creating a buffer zone there in the Sumy region. But maybe we'll take Sumy. What? It's not your city. The Sumy region, ladies and gentlemen, is not their madness with Lugansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. It's a different region. It is the Sumy Oblast, or the Sumy region. You see, it's absolute evil. Zelenskyy calling it. In the world right now, many of those world leaders just looking the other way. And it's a horrible tragedy, because they're getting to the point now where they're declaring there is no Ukraine. It's just Russia. And they reject everything. Here you go. Hope President Trump hears this and sees how Putin is now trying to prolong even the Iranian regime's survival, just to buy more time for his own madness. And the murder of many thousands. A response is clearly needed. Everyone in the world must choose where they stand, and on our part, we in Ukraine have adopted a number of new decisions, taking into account the frankness of the Russian murderers who openly declare that they do not intend to stop. All right, there you have it. He calls out the Iranian connection. It's a smokescreen. I hope Trump can see all of this. Well, Trump right now wanting to get a Nobel Peace Prize and deciding whether he's going to drop a bomb on Fordow in Iran. Because I hope you see this evil. You see what's happening. And I'll be honest with you. I don't think Donald Trump sees it at all. I don't think he cares. Putin's his friend. Provide virtual daily updates on what Ukrainian diplomats are doing to achieve our Ukrainian goals, the defense of Ukraine, the protection of our independence, and the strengthening of our sovereignty. All of this is about saving lives. I thank everyone who stands with Ukraine. I have absolute confidence in Ukrainians. Glory to Ukraine. And as I told you guys, this one came out earlier than normal. Usually it's about now. We're recording this at 3 in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time. Usually this is about when Zelenskyy begins to put his evening address out. This has been out trying to make a direct statement, because this weekend a lot of things are unsettled with what the Russians were stating whether it's Putin or Kobyakov directly out of those meetings yesterday, Lavrov, others pushing these narratives globally, and the United States completely focused on Iran and Israel and Ukraine getting put to the back burner. We will not allow that to happen. There is one thing I'm going to share with you off the tarmac yesterday, I think on the way to play golf, because it is 2-week Donald and Taco and all of that. The bottom line is Trump on the tarmac yesterday said the people around me that are talking too much, they just need to shut up. And then also, guys, kind of breaking news here just in the last couple of hours, Zelenskyy saying, I haven't made a decision on going to NATO yet, thinking about going to it. But the United States has already put out that most likely Donald Trump would not meet Zelenskyy. There would be no discussions on Ukraine. Zelenskyy can be invited to the dinner, but that would be about it. So this is just the reality of what we're facing right now, today, June the 21st, 2025. And here, you can hear this part.
And what's been right about that? Ukraine, you've been making progress towards a peace deal, but I don't know if you know this, but Lindsey Graham and Mike Pompeo were there on the ground in Ukraine, seemingly doing the opposite, trying to provoke the Ukrainians to keep fighting. What do you think of that?
Well, we're going to see, and people have to be very careful with what they say. They got to be very careful with their mouth, because their mouth can get them into a lot of trouble.
People need to be careful with their mouth. Their mouth can get them in a lot of trouble. And that was in reference to Lindsey Graham, Mike Pompeo, Blumenthal, everybody trying in their way to help Ukraine. And we now know that that is going away. But it's just the way it's discussed. Because if you heard the reporter say, he goes, well, we're getting close to peace in Ukraine and Russia. Really? Where are you getting your information from? I don't know where these people get their information from, but they're delusional. They're absolutely delusional. And unfortunately, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I would say be careful with your mouth there. Respectfully, Donald Trump. And more importantly, be careful with what you pin down on your truth social. It might come back and bite you. We'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, that's where we're at this afternoon with some video that most people didn't see. I just caught it myself. And we thank you. Thank you for being here, liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing. You guys have a good afternoon and be blessed.